Welcome to the Hiring and Empowering Solutions podcast. This podcast is dedicated to providing the key ingredients to transform your employees into a dream team, creating consistent results in every aspect of your business, including your people, your process, and your profits. Your team empowerment, leadership, business development, communication, hiring, and firing. As some of the country's leading staffing and management consultants, we help business owners, i.e. entrepreneurs, and the team that support them, what we call intrapreneurs, to powerfully connect and work together to grow the business. Welcome to another episode of the award-winning Hiring and Empowering Solutions podcast. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. And if you're a first-time listener, we're really hopeful that you'll become a long-time listener. As always, I'm your show host, Molly McGrath. And today I'm also going to be the podcast guest. Today we are talking about Tuesday's transformational tip on a very, very popular, but dare I say, a controversial subject matter. Today's topic is about when a new employee makes more than me. When I find out that a new employee was hired at more money, and possibly they might be, from our perspective, much less qualified employee hired making more money. So let's dive right in and talk about this topic. We get phone calls from, obviously, many of you know that we do hiring side of the business and recruiting side. And when we do our discovery calls with new clients, the number one question is, what should I expect to pay X? Receptionist, associate attorney, paralegal, what have you. And we will do some demographic research in regards to the marketplace, but we always tell the attorneys, we don't know. We can go to salary.com. We can do all the research that we want, but at the end of the day, it's what your market's bearing right now. So when we place an ad, we never ever place salary. And what we do is we want to talk to as many qualified people or closely qualified people as we can to find out what your competition is paying employees in regards to years of experience, skill set, things of that nature. And quite honestly, just what the average going rate is for any employee, whether it be a receptionist or associate attorney. So we try to talk to as many people as possible, spend the good part of the first 3 to 5 days on the phone, speaking to as many people that apply, and then also reaching out through our recruiting strategies to get to talk to people that did not apply. And there may be they're currently employed, just to see how they're doing, if they're happy, if they're looking to make a move, etc. So when we come back to the law firms and we report what we have found after speaking to anywhere from 20 to 100 people, here's your average. For somebody that is bottom of the barrel, you can expect to pay X. Somebody that is highly, highly skilled, they're an entrepreneur, they come batteries included, you can expect to pay Y. And that's the data that we provide. From there, the attorneys do the interviewing, and you interview from a place of cultural fit. Will they get along with my existing employees, etc.? Well, the new employees onboarded. They start. And lo and behold, and I have no idea how this even occurs, but the water cooler conversations begin. And somehow someone finds out that the new person was hired for more than either maybe one employee or multiple employees that have been longtime veteran employees at the firm. And then the rumblings start. So today I really want, either if you're an employee, you're a manager, you're a law firm administrator, you're a COO, or you're the entrepreneur, i.e. the managing partner, attorney, what have you. Regardless of what seat you sit in, my greatest wish is we can just throw a bomb in the room to this entire conversation and eradicate and transform it from this day forward. So let's kind of walk through this from a case study perspective and giving you an absolute tool and strategy to anchor to. So you're an employee, you hear about this, that somebody's making more money than you're making. And of course, it stings. It's like a gut punch in the beginning. And you're like, what the heck is going on here? I've been here for this long. I haven't had a review. And then we start going down this vicious cycle, dark tunnel. And that's where the emotions start to get very heightened. And we go to a dark place, in all honesty. And if you don't have an outlet for that rumble, for the emotions, for everything that starts bubbling, then a tremendous amount of head trash begins. And what we tend to do to expel that and to get some relief is we start walking around the office and talking to other people, if there's other people in the office. So you'll say, did you hear that so-and-so is making more money? We haven't had any reviews. We haven't had raises, whatever it might be. Or if you're the only employee in the building, what we have experienced over the past 20 plus years is that there's a thundering silence running through the office. So we'll get the phone calls from the entrepreneur saying, I don't know what happened since we brought on that new employee. Susie is seeming really disengaged, seeming a little snippy, a little upset, whatever it might be. And sometimes it might be about money, and other times it might be because there's a new favorite, quote unquote, teacher's pet. And there's this underlying jealousy that occurs. Regardless if it's about money or it's about time and attention, at the end of the day, it's breeding ground for resentment. It's a breeding ground for creating widespread panic unnecessarily. It's a breeding ground for creating really like a cancer in the office, if not dealt with in what I like to call an adult manner. This is an adult conversation. You're in a professional environment. You're an employee that hopefully is that you're on a path for professional and personal growth, and you're very interested in a bigger future. And if you work with any of the law firms that we work with, that's the platform and the culture that they create. They want their employees to make as much money as they want to. There's nothing that makes entrepreneurs happier when they can give their employees a raise or a new title or a new advancement or a surprise bonus or incentive-based compensation plans, whatever it might be. But the truth of the matter is your solopreneur, your small business owner, they are dying for their employees to step up and lead. And they don't want to just, give you a paycheck and for you to just be grateful that you get a paycheck. They really are begging for their employees to make all this operations stuff easier on them. Here's the biggest secret, employees. Your boss has no idea how much money you make. They have no idea when your last review was, when your last raise was. That is not something that they're responsible for paying attention to. And I know that sounds insane because they own a business. And a lot of times we think, the stereotypical corporate culture, HR, etc. But when you make the decision, and it's probably the best decision you'll ever make in your life, to work for a small business owner, you have autonomy. You are allowed to speak your truth, give your opinions. You contribute to the vision, mission, value, the systems, the way we do things. You matter. Your voice matters. You get access to the heartbeat of the company. That doesn't happen in corporate America. And for the thousands and thousands of people that we speak to every single month, whether it's a receptionist or the associate attorney position sitting here in the year 2019, it's not really about the money. It's about being close to, like I said, the heartbeat of the company, being involved in rolling up your sleeves and being involved in the creation and the ideation and the growth of a business. I just did a podcast that was posted last week with Rosalind Cassidy in regards to when she started in a cubicle with her attorney and grew that business 5x. She left a huge company, insurance defense company, making a lot more money than she did when she left and took that leap of faith with her solopreneur. So if you haven't listened to that podcast and you're an employee, I would highly recommend that you do. It integrates really nicely with this conversation today. But your employer, like I said, your employer doesn't remember when your last raise was. So you get this inkling, you hear the rumbling that new kid on the block is making more money than you are. Here is what I highly, highly recommend that you do. So you feel that instant sting and buzz rumbling through your body. And of course, we either go into shock or trauma, or we want to go and talk to other people about it to get confirmation. There's this saying that all truth resides in agreement. So if you go talk to someone at the front desk, water cooler, end of the hall, and you get agreement that they're pissed off about it and it's, injustice and whatever other story and drama you want to attach to it, then it just flares up and, like I said, runs like a cancer. So here's what I highly recommend. Step 1 is that you actually go and schedule a lunch or coffee or something of that nature with your entrepreneur, with your hiring manager, whoever is in charge. And I would preface it by saying, I'm not quitting, but I would like to have a conversation about an employee review so they at least know what they're walking into. And in that moment, you have an upfront, clear, concise, adult, well-communicated conversation where you say, I know when we started, it was just you and I've been here for X amount of years, X amount of months, whatever it might be. And we really didn't have any systems or standards or anything of that nature. I appreciate how incredibly busy you are. HR is not your jam. You didn't go to law school and they didn't teach you how to manage a team or a business or whatever it might be. And so we have a new employee here. And depending on the size of your team, whether it's just you or other people, you can say, and everyone's aware that she's making more money than we are or whatever the case may be. Again, state the facts. Don't come from a place of emotion. And I love it here. I love working here. I haven't had a review in quite some time. I see some opportunities for growth and other things that I can take on. And I think it's a perfect time for us to really start standardize and systematizing employee reviews, incentive-based compensation plans, in addition to key performance indicators, and maybe doing a retreat where we're going through everyone's roles and goals and who's doing what to reach goal. I'm going to pause. What business owner wouldn't absolutely love that? They would say, I know because I've facilitated millions of these conversations. They would be so delighted because I can tell you when attorneys call us to hire and add on their next employee, their greatest fear is that they're going to have to pay someone more than they're paying their current dedicated, valuable employees. And they don't know how to handle that conversation. They're very, very sensitive and very conscious to it. So even though they might not know your current dollar amount, when we come back and we say this is what the market's bearing, it's a lot more than what they hired someone 2, 5, 10 years ago at. So, I mean, it's just the way that the world of business works. But they would love it if you as an employee came to them from that place versus disengaging, versus just showing up and clock watching, doing just what you need to do to get by. These are real examples of things that we hear and see, or start becoming toxic and resentful. And even if you feel like you are not communicating that and you're just shutting your mouth and putting your head down and doing your job and just coming in and clocking out, it's very noticeable. And I can tell you that's a fast track to being really unfulfilled in your job and absolutely not having an opportunity for advancement, growth, or increased pay. So I would say step one is sit down and have an adult, clear, concise conversation, even if you're shaking in your boots, even if you are scared to death, because just the fact that you have the confidence and courage and the maturity to sit down and have that conversation, in my experience, will get you not only an advancement in financial means, but also your leadership is going to step up and shine like never before. So, you've probably heard me say this if you've listening to any of my presentations, podcasts, or read any of my books. I always quote my favorite movie, We Bought a Zoo, where it says, in that movie, Matt Damon says, all it takes is 20 seconds of insane courage. And that's so true in anything in this life. So if you can have the courage to have an adult conversation, and sure, you might have a little bit of emotions, and it's perfectly fine to say, I'm feeling a little resentful about this or a little hurt. And I know how busy you are. I know you don't have the time or the bandwidth or the systems to run the business very much like structured like corporate America, but can we start considering adding something like this? And then from there, you come with a proposed solution, because I will bet my bottom dollar the answer is not only yes, but yes and thank you. And not only yes and thank you, but yes and thank you. And can you please lead this project? And from that place, when you have a resounding yes, I will, or I'll lock arms with so-and-so in the office and we'll do it together, or what have you, that instills so much confidence in the entrepreneur, in the attorney, that you have their back. And when you come to them from that place of proposed solution versus emotions and drama and Storyville, where you make up all this story about it and you don't handle it in real time, then they lose confidence and faith that you'll have their back, that you'll have the best interest, not only, of course, for yourself, but as a firm as a whole. So I would venture to guess the answer is yes and thank you, and please take the lead. So step 2 would be, okay, I would like for us to start implementing the employee evaluation process. Hiring and Empowering has one. I'm going to get it from Molly, and I'm going to implement that process. And again, it's easier to edit than create. We'll make it our own. Let me look at it, make some revisions, come to with a proposal of how we should handle this. Of course, we have maybe 2, 3, 5 employees on staff, or maybe just you. We're not going to do all these reviews next week and just hammer overhead. So I am conscious of that. I am very considerate of that. And so my recommendation is that we stagger these out. We let everyone know in the staff meeting that we are going to start implementing, now that our team's growing, now that we have our second employee or our 22nd employee, we're going to start implementing standardization around, number 1, performance reviews, or I don't even like that word, employee reviews. Lainey and I always talked about calling them growth plans, where you're not being evaluated whether you have a pass or a fail, but everyone should always be on a growth plan. So we're going to, for lack of a better term, do employee reviews that are attached to personal growth plans. And then we're going to collectively have a strategic retreat. And if you don't have those hardwired into your world, into your business, I'd highly recommend that you start putting those in quarterly as well, so we can all be very clear and anchored to not only the heartbeat of the company, but what we're getting out of bed for every day, what our North Star is, whether it be around financial or number of appointments, number of leads that we want to do, implementation and deploying projects, whatever it might be. we all need something bigger that we're playing into and that we're having fun. And that's future-based, because that attributes to you having more growth and opportunity. So I would recommend that you implement that. So let me go ahead, start working on implementing the employee reviews, number 1. Number 2, I would like to start implementing quarterly retreats where we all can shut down for a day once a quarter, working on our long-term, medium-term goals, where we can really be anchoring to what part we play into the overall growth of the firm. Because when people get time and attention, and when people have inside knowledge about what the vision of the company is, what's important to the entrepreneur, they'll take a bullet for you. So it's really important for you as an employee when you get access to that. And I don't mean it's going to be a team building or a team bonding, but it's about overall goals and how we can break these down in one small step, in weekly basis and project basis, and how you play a part in that and how you contribute to that. And the third piece of that is, okay, great. We have our individual growth plans, and we're going to do every quarter. It's on the calendar like clockwork. I'm going to take ownership of it, entrepreneur. I'm going to put it on everyone's calendar. And for the record, there's a self-evaluation that the employee does first, and they give it to the employer, and then they do an evaluation. Then you come together and you have a really healthy, actually exciting conversation about your future for the next quarter. So you talk about things that you would like to take on, that you see from your seat, from your perspective, that you'd like to add to your role, where you see that we're missing opportunities, where we can have refinement, efficiency, things of that nature. So you're offering from your perspective what you see, your vision, what you see improvements in your current position, what you'd like to take on extra, etc. And then you both have a conversation and you get really clear about it. And it's specific, it's measurable, and then you have already on the calendar the next quarter when you're going to reconvene, when you're going to meet again, and you're going to measure and track it. And from that place, you talk about a raise, and you talk about, okay, great, let's talk about what this I would like to propose. And then here's what I say, employees, take it upon yourself. You know what you need in regards to putting food on your table, gas in your tank, to daycare, whatever your overhead is, to make it worth it for you to come to work every day and not harm your family. You know what your number is. So don't play these games with, I went on salary.com and all that other junk that is really, truly irrelevant. Because I can tell you, I've had people get so upset that so-and-so was hired, they're making more money, and their neighbor promised them, oh God, you leave there, you can make 10 times, 2 times, 4 times that at anywhere, and then they leave, and then they come back, and lo and behold, they come back and they are like, okay, the grass is not greener at all. Yes, I made a little bit more money by the time my taxes came out, and now I have to pay for parking and everything else. I really didn't do the math. And I actually shot myself in the foot. So don't get seduced by the internet and or what the clamorings of your community are telling you. Figure out what your monthly nut is. What do you need to bring home every single month in order for you to be excited, to feel appreciated, to be fulfilled? And I would recommend that you take that burden off your entrepreneur, again, showing up like a leader and making a recommendation. Here's my recommendation. Here's what I would like to see as a base salary. Being fair and knowing it, and also taking care of yourself, taking into consideration that you're going to add another component to it, which is incentive-based compensation plan. And by all means, please email me and I will send you a copy of a sample incentive-based compensation plan for law firms. And this is something where you're getting quarterly bonuses as well, based on the success and the growth of the firm. And every single person, from the receptionist to the marketing coordinator, to the associate attorney, to the drafter, It does not matter what role you sit in. Finance, bookkeeping, every single person contributes and is wholly responsible for meeting the goals, whether they be revenue-based or calendar-based. And I've done podcasts on that in the past, so go back and listen to that as well, of creating value in your role. But everyone is definitely a revenue generator. And we talk about how each position has their key performance indicators. So again, to recap, step 1, sit down and have an adult conversation. Don't even spend a millisecond. The second that you find yourself at the water cooler talking to somebody else and it starts with, "Did you hear?" you're in danger. You're in big trouble, and it's very difficult to recover from resentment. Very difficult, because for multiple reasons. I won't even go into all the reasons about why, but it just is very difficult. So when you find yourself having the urge to be fired up and to go talk to so-and-so down the hall or at the water cooler, stop yourself and hear my voice in your ears, where you say, "Nope, I'm going to handle this like a professional, like an adult. I say I want more money. I want more responsibility. I believe I'm worth more, then I need to start acting like I'm worth more." And how I do that is act like a true entrepreneur, like a true leader, and go have an adult conversation with the person that could do something about it. Because I can promise you, Susie at the water cooler can't. So that's step 1. Step 2 is then make a proposal to start standardizing some of these structures in regards to growth plans, reviews, quarterly retreats, and incentive-based compensation, and take that off your attorney's plate. Make a recommendation, come with a proposed solution, and say, okay, can I stagger these? Can I start working? We're sitting here towards the year-end sprint of the year. Can we have all this finalized by the end of the year? I'll start staggering the reviews for everyone, and we'll have those done by the mid-October. We'll get a retreat by the end of October, and then we'll have our year-end sprint for November and December. And if we reach goal, then we get a bonus. And I highly recommend that everyone create that bonus together so they're excited about it. They're empowered to buy it. They're invested in it. So that's my little rant today about when you find out that somebody else is making more than you, because you can use that information and completely transform your world. It's not intentional. It's not that somebody's more qualified, underqualified, creating more value, undervalue. All that garbage that we make up is not true. It's truly that we're growing. We need to hire someone. We need to get somebody in here, and we need to pay fair market value. And we really, truly, 9 out of 10 times attorneys don't remember what they brought the last person in at. And they're slammed. They're in the conference room. They're worried about cash flow. They're worried about getting client service. They're worried about their reputation in the marketplace. And they're desperate for somebody to step up and lead and say, let me help you with this stuff. Let's start implementing it. So the tools of the week that we are going to be sharing with you, if you simply email us, will be the employee review system and the growth plan. We're also going to be sharing a sample incentive-based compensation plan, in addition to a suggested quarterly retreat agenda that you can start using. So below in the show notes are the information in regards to how to contact us to get those tools. And again, your attorney is desperate for you to step up and lead. So if you find a piece of information that tees you off, that fires you up, that causes you to crank your head, use that as an opportunity to conduct a stop restart and say, okay, and where am I willing to put my money where my mouth is, and take the drama and the emotions out of this and really walk in there with my head held high and operate like an entrepreneur. And if you don't know what we mean by intrapreneur, please go to our website, hiringandempowering.com, and download our book, Intrapreneurs in an Entrepreneur's World, How to Step Up and Lead. And there's some fantastic information in there and drive-by coaching and tips for you as an employee and for an entrepreneur of how to get on the same page and lock arms for the team members to operate like an intrapreneur to support the entrepreneur so they can work on growing the business. Okay, that's our tip for the week. We'd love to get your feedback, your comments. Either put them below in the chat. Feel free to email us or schedule a complimentary discovery call if we can help you in any way with implementing some of the strategies that we talked about today.